How's everyone doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of articles related to the landmark real estate settlement that occurred earlier this year and how this is affecting realtor commissions. So let's take a look let's bring these articles in. So we're going to be looking at two articles here today. The first one is from the Business Journals, and this is called Real Estate Commissions Are Taking a Surprising Turn After the Landmark Settlement. The second article we're going to be looking at is from the Wall Street Journal, and this is called Why a Landmark Settlement on Realtors' Fees Hasn't Cut Costs, at least as of yet. So this first article here, so real estate commissions are taking a surprising turn after the landmark settlement. So real estate commissions remain steady despite the NAR settlement concerns. So just to recap for everybody, there was a big settlement here in the real estate world a number of months back, and what it was doing was taking aim at how commissions were being paid. So in the residential real estate world, it's very common for the seller to pay both the selling agent and the buyer agent commission. So in other words, if a typical 6% sales commission on a property, it was always on the seller to pay both sides of the commission in the transaction. And the buyer would just pay, all the other, purchase fees required with getting a more, they'd pay the underwriting costs of the bank, commitment fee as it were. They would pay, title insurance, appraisals, inspections, like anything like that. Or, obviously, as you get whatever, all the title insurance, as far as real estate taxes, other things, pro rata, all those things that go into your typical real estate costs. So, but despite this landmark, what we're saying is that, things, again, the big fear was that, now you're putting more fees on buyers. So you're in a situation where homes are already unaffordable due to rising costs of the house, rising costs of utilities, higher interest rate environment, due to all those factors making housing unaffordable to a large part of the population. Now you were basically saying, okay, if you're a buyer, you're now going to have to pay your commissions when using your buyer agent to conduct a real estate transaction. Now, I personally have believed that that's how it should have always been, and it should have been like that for a long time. If you're the seller, I think the seller, you're going, man, why am I paying for the buyer's agent? And these could be big dollars. I mean, you sell a $500,000 house. That could be a lot of money in a real estate commission that you're, paying to somebody who basically wasn't working for you. So, from a seller standpoint, I can absolutely understand, because that could be $15,000, $20,000, even more, out of your pocket to, pay for the buyer's agent. So again, understand all these different aspects, but how is this really panning out? That's the real question here. So anyway, I digress. So, agents have reported working harder for the same income facing client challenges. The number of full-time real estate agents has decreased basically through 2024. So real estate agents and industry insiders were worried commissions on transactions would drop in the wake of a historic class action lawsuit settlement last year. Early data suggests that hasn't been the case. A study by Clever Real Estate in June found the national average for real estate commissions on the sale of a home was 5.44%, which was up from a 5.32% average in September of 2024. For a home priced at the national median value of $367,711. According to the research, that amounts to just over $20,000 in total fees, with $10,186 going to the seller's agent, 2.77%, and $9,818 to the buyer's agent, 2.67%. Now, again, as I said, if we just use these numbers, if you're the seller, that's almost $10,000 that, you don't have to pay for. That's a significant savings for the seller. So I can understand why the seller would feel the way that they do. Conversely, for the buyer, that's an extra $10,000 now settlement charges to the buyer. That's not helping any buyers out there having to incur an extra $10,000 in settlement costs. That's a significant increase in amounts going either way. But Clever noted that the current commission rates were largely the same as they were in 2023 after having fallen to a 5-year low in 2024. The analysis also comes at a time when the process of buying and selling a home has been upended. A $418 million settlement by the National Association of Realtors last year came in response to a wave of class action lawsuits in which plaintiffs charged the NAR's participation rule and cooperative compensation practices unfairly forced home sellers to pay inflated commissions to buyer agents. Plaintiffs argued a complex network of rules kept buyer broker commissions high and essentially mandated the seller offer buyer commissions. The NAR, as part of its settlement, that's the National Association of Realtors, agreed to a series of internal changes that took effect last summer. Those steps included sellers no longer being able to make offers of buyer broker commissions on any multiple listing service the NAR owns, although they can still make commission offers on other websites and through negotiations. Since the NAR settlement, the biggest change I've seen isn't in the numbers, but in the conversations, said Alexi Morgano, a Florida realtor and CEO and owner of AlexaWise. They're asking how commissions are divided up, who's paying whom, and why. So that's a good thing. Now, again, just so people keep in mind, why did this happen? Well, if you were selling a house, a lot of home sales were happening in what? At warp speed. They were happening insanely fast. I mean, a lot of houses were being sold before the house would even get, if the house was going on the market on Friday, by Friday night, the house was sold, and they had 10 offers over asking price. So again, for a lot of sellers out there, it begs the question, if the market was so hot that all I had to do was just put my house on the market, and within a day it was sold, what it asks the obvious question, well, what's the realtor, what's the buyer's agent, really doing? How much work are they really doing to complete this sale? So again, I think very valid questions. So, but this article also goes on to say that commissions vary by location. So the top 5 states for real estate commissions were Michigan at a little over 6%, Ohio at 5.87%, Missouri at 5.77%, Minnesota at 5.75%, and Colorado at 5.74%. The bottom 5 states in terms of commissions were number 1, New Jersey at 4.92%, Maryland at 5.13%, Illinois at 5.18%, California at 5.18%, and Alaska at 5.22%. Now, again, I think it's just interesting to note a lot of those states, real estate values much higher, and obviously New Jersey, Maryland, parts of Illinois, California, and parts of Alaska. So, and obviously real estate taxes much higher there. So a lot more expense in some of those states. So you can understand why their commissions might be a little bit lower than some of the other states. I think, Michigan, Ohio, Missouri, Minnesota, Colorado, probably some of the most affordable states in the country, right? But the real estate agents that, they are facing some challenges, despite commissions not having fallen as has been expected, real estate agents are still feeling the squeeze. A majority of agents, 89% surveyed by real estate firm Open Door, said that they were working much harder to earn the same money they did prior to the industry's commission changes. Additionally, 58% said they are defending their value more than they were a year ago, and 81% said they are concerned the current income model will be unsustainable in 5 years. So, but again, I would say this on another note. We saw here at the top of the article that they were talking about how the number of full-time real estate agents decreased in 2024. I believe that is actually a really good thing for the real estate industry, and the reason being is that you've got a lot of part-time people working as realtors. Not always the best group. There are people out there that would say that they, value a realtor less than a used car salesman. And the reason being is that I think you have a lot of, part-time and even some of the full-time people that, maybe aren't so dedicated to the business itself, or maybe just do it even more as like a part-time gig or something. So I think that getting a lot of those people out of the industry, and when you're left with the people that are the best of the best, the people that are really good at being full-time realtors, are highly trained, highly experienced. I think the industry as a whole is going to tremendously benefit from that. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then let's take a look real quick at this Wall Street Journal article. So this basically looks at, this is average commission paid to U.S. real estate agents representing buyers, and you can see here that it's actually gone up a little bit. So from the from the fourth quarter of 24. We were down to 2.37%. We were at a rock bottom in the third quarter of 2024 at 2.37%. And then it's been going up the last three quarters. So fourth quarter of 24, we went to 2.37%. The first quarter of this year, 2.41. And then the second quarter for this year, now up to 2.43. So again, the buyer's commission going up there a little bit, which is, again, good to see. Now, this article points out, what are a couple of theories here as to what things are going on? So theory number one, agents don't want to change. I would say, yeah, there's probably a lot of truth to that. Theory number two, the housing market is in a slump. Yes, there's some truth to that. Inventory is not that spectacular. Theory number three, buyers aren't negotiating. Only 27% of recent home buyers negotiated with their agent about fees or tried to, according to a Redfin survey conducted this spring. And most buyers don't interview multiple agents, according to the NAR research. So again, very interesting there. I don't know why they wouldn't be. Theory number four, the fees aren't too high. So that is an interesting one. And then theory number five, change could show up later. There are some signs of buyers behaving differently since the settlement. A study by Jefferson Durant and David Zhang at Rice found a small increase after the settlement went into effect in the share of buyers who choose not to use real estate agents in certain states. So again, very interesting article there, looking at some of the theories as to why some things may or may not be happening with this. But overall, I think this is very interesting so far. And I think that this is one thing that we'll have to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how things continue to play out with this throughout the rest of the year and into the next couple of years, and ultimately what changes we see from this. So, but I will continue to keep an eye on it and bring you updates as they come in. So with that being said, I will wrap up by basically saying, if you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that always helps the channel. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please be sure to leave your comments down below, as I always love getting back to everybody. And as always, make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel. I hope everyone has a great day out there. Thank you for listening and watching, and I will see everyone again real soon. Thanks a lot.